It's here, y'all. It's the best time of the year, full of warmth and cheer and wonder, and everyone's happy and wonderful. And yeah, no. So if you know someone who is grieving this holiday season, this time of year is probably the suckiest part of their year. So in today's video, I am going to tell you different ways that you can be an awesome friend to someone that you know who is grieving this holiday season. Stay tuned. So if you are someone who's grieving today, you're going to commiserate with what I'm saying in this video. And if you are here because you know someone who's grieving and you want to know how to be a good friend to them and what you should say to them during this difficult season, kudos to you and thank you for being awesome. There should be more people in the world like you. I'm going to go through and I'm going to give you a list of 15 things that you can do or say for someone who is grieving in the holiday season to just help make this time a little bit less sucky for them. The first thing you could say is, hey, I'm here for you if you need me. Let the person know that it is okay if they are not in the holiday spirit, that you just want to be there for them in any way that you can. If decking the halls feels freaking impossible for your friend, which is highly likely if they're going through grief or they just suffered a major loss, then just let them know that you are fine to just simply hang out and do nothing and just be there with them. Number two, you want to hang out? Sometimes the best thing that you can do is just offer some chill time together. Propose a laid back movie night, a leisurely walk, or just a coffee catch up. The key here is zero pressure. Just being around can mean the world to someone who is grieving. Number three, tell me about it. Be that friend who is all ears. If your friend feels like walking down memory lane, or if they just need to let out their feelings, just be there for them. There's no need for advice. There's no need for solutions. A lot of times what grievers need is just a silent listening ear. Number four, do you need a hand? Listen, the holiday hustle can be so overwhelming for people who are grieving. So anything that you can do to take something off of that person's plate, whether it is to help with shopping or with decorating or maybe preparing some meals, that would mean the world to someone who is going through a loss. Sometimes these practical things are the best way to show someone that you care. Number five, let's remember them. I love this one because so many people who are friends with someone who is grieving are kind of afraid to bring up the lost loved one. They're afraid it's going to hurt the person or remind them of that person. But here's the thing, grieving people are always thinking about the person that they lost. So don't be afraid to ask the person that you are trying to help if they want to share old memories with you, if they want to talk about things that you remember about their person, if you want to create new memories together, do things like lighting a candle in that person's memory or making an ornament in that person's honor or with their picture on it. Those things can absolutely mean the world. Number six, you do you. I love this one because it takes the pressure off of the grieving person. Sometimes people who are grieving, they don't want to go through the normal routines. They might not want to show up at the family dinner because it is just too hard. So you know what? Say you do you. Do whatever you need to do this holiday season to get through it, and don't put any pressure on them to do the things that they typically do. Any way that that person wants to handle their grief this holiday season should be okay. Number seven, hey, don't forget to take care of yourself. Reminding people who are grieving to take care of themselves during this busy time of year is such a nice thing to do because chances are they are probably having a rough time. They are probably having memories all over the place and dealing with waves of grief, and gently reminding them to look after themselves, to make sure they're getting enough to eat, that they are, doing some gentle exercise, that they are taking some time to themselves to just regroup and relax. Those things are so important. Number 8, hey, I could do that for you. Saying that one is great because it doesn't really give the other person an option. It just is crazy helpful. So if the person says, oh, I need to go run here, do this, cook that, whatever it is, just be like, hey, I can do that for you. Take that off of the plate, and it can lighten the load on that person who is grieving. And it's so helpful. Number 9, here's a little something just for you. Now, I hate to tell people to spend money, and you don't even have to spend money on this one, but any sort of tiny little thing, whether it's a card, it can even be a handmade card, or some tiny little gift just for that person, can mean so much and just tells that person, you know what? You're on my mind. I'm thinking of you. I care about you. And that means so much to someone who is going through the grieving process. Number 10, just checking in. Whether you text it, whether you call, whether you run into the person in the hallway, or I wouldn't stop by. Don't stop by unannounced. Usually grieving people don't like that. Just saying that you are checking in lets the person know that you care, but it also takes off the pressure to do something social with that person. So it's just a nice little quick thing that you can do that lets the person know that you care. Number 11, no rush. Saying this to someone who's grieving lets them know that you acknowledge that everyone's grief journey is different and personal, and everyone's timeline for grieving is different. So just saying to someone, it's no rush. We'll do that when you feel up to it. No rush. Maybe we'll do that next year. Don't worry about it right now. Saying that to someone who is grieving takes so much pressure off of that person. Number 12, whichever way that goes. My numbers are too big at this point. So number 12 is just saying you're invited. Just throwing out the invitations lets that person know that you care about them, you're thinking about them, you want to spend time with them, that their grief is not a burden. You know what? They might pass, and that's totally okay. But just the fact that that invitation was out there can mean a lot to someone and let them know that they're not forgotten. Number 13, do you need a break? If you are friends with someone who's grieving, and maybe you are at a holiday event or a work event or some sort of social gathering, and maybe you notice that that person has kind of gone off to the side or retreated into themselves a little bit, it would be so nice of you to just go up to that person and say, hey, do you need a break? Tell them that it's okay if they need to go take a moment by themselves, or if they want you to come along and you can just take a quick walk or go to another room and just get a little bit of space so that person can regroup, can mean so much and lets that person know that you understand what they're going through. Number 14, I remember that too. Saying things like this, or I remember your person, or I remember when such and such did this, is so meaningful to someone who's grieving. I already mentioned that the person who's grieving has not forgotten. They aren't going to get upset if you mention that person, because chances are they are already thinking about that person. So just acknowledging, if you knew that person, sharing memories, saying you also miss them, can mean so much. It's a way of acknowledging that the person who is no longer there was important and was cherished and is remembered. And that means so much to the person who's grieving them. And the last one, number 15, is probably one of the most difficult things that you could say to someone. But if you feel like it is really necessary, you could say to someone who's grieving, maybe you should chat with someone. Saying this acknowledges that perhaps that person is not doing very well and not dealing with their grief during the holiday season. And maybe they do need a little more help than you can provide as a friend. Maybe they should speak with a therapist or a counselor or someone from their church, or someone who is trained to deal with grief, because it's more than you can handle. Like I said, it might be uncomfortable to say that, but sometimes it's the nicest thing that you can do to just let that person know that there is no shame in getting help. There is no shame in needing to talk about your problems with someone who gets it and who has been there or who is trained and specializes in grief. The key with this one is just remembering to say it very gently, because sometimes just a little guidance can go a long way in the grieving process. So that is it. That's the list. Did you have a favorite? Comment down below and let me know which of those sayings would either be your favorite thing to hear as a griever, or you think would be the most effective and kindest thing to say to someone who's grieving. I think my favorite is saying, I remember them too, or let's talk about your person, and bringing up the memories that you have of whoever the person is that was lost. I'm always thinking about my people, especially my daughter Libby. So when people want to talk about her, it just warms my heart, and it makes me feel like she's not forgotten, which is so important as her mom. Supporting a friend in grief during the holidays, it is all about love and patience and understanding. And the fact that you're here watching this video already shows me and shows your friend, and should hopefully show you, that you are the kind of person who is the best to give that support, because you obviously care so much. It's not about fixing the person's pain, but it is about walking beside them and along with them and being a shoulder to cry on and an ear to listen whenever they need it, or a hand to help with anything that they need help with. Remember, grief is an exhausting and a lot of times miserable journey, but with friends like you, it is that much easier. So thank you so much for being here. I hope you found these tips helpful. If you would like to watch more videos about grieving during the holidays, I will leave a link here in suggested videos for you. I hope you guys are having an okay holiday season. I am, as always, sending love and hugs, and I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.